Meanwhile, Joseph was being purchased by Potiphar, the bodyguard of Pharaoh. It might be a bit rough to be the slave of a bodyguard. I want you to put yourselves in Joseph's sandals for a minute. Imagine walking behind a camel a few hundred miles, part of which would have been hot sand, to a foreign country. You can't speak the language. You don't know what people are saying. They make you stand on rock and everyone is staring at you. Some big guy hands over some money to the people that bought you there, and he starts to lead you away like goat on a rope. You have a few choices. You can try to wait for a chance to run until you see someone's toes chopped off when they were caught. You can get really mad at your brothers and God and life in general and do as little as you can get away with. Or you can put yourself into this new life and try to look forward and not backward. Amazingly, Joseph did the latter. He chose to look forward and not backward. Now, this is the lesson I want you to think about. You can look back and get bitter, or forward and have hope. Why do you think Joseph looked forward? He recognized that the Lord was with him. He still believed his dreams, the promises of God. Now I want to ask you, is the Lord with you? I want to ask you, is the Lord with you? The Lord given you promises. I want 3 of you to tell me one promise each. When you pass through the waters, he will be with you. As a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. Amen? Does it give you hope? Does it give you a reason forward? Things went pretty well in Potiphar's house, and Joseph was promoted to general manager. Before that, though, you see how Joseph brother then they wicked though. Bad mind and wicked. Eh? You could have done that to your own brother? Or even sister. Because though the Bible speaks of brother, you know so then something I go on in real life? How people say Bible not real? Because this was written many, many, many thousand years ago. But we hear these things every single day in our very own Jamaica land we love. Sometimes in our own families, we fight against one another, we grudge one another, we thief from one another, and we plot and kill one another, especially over dead left land. These stories are not new. I could never imagine hurting my own sibling. All of us here are a part of a big family, don't it? We're all a part of the family of God. But did you know that the same behaviors we exhibit in our blood families, we exhibit them at church? We backbite each other, we grudge each other, we put down each other. If somebody have two little frack more than you chat them. Oh, then go on like they nice, children have nice frack. Our children can go foreign. Children drive this a car. Eh? You not begrudge nobody. The topic of my sermon is God has a plan. And God has a plan for each and every life. Your plan is not mine. So my walk is not going to look like yours. There is no need, especially in the church, for us to fight against each other. Sometimes the deepest hurts come from the church. Some years ago, not so long ago, about 5 years now, 2019, I take up myself and say, how, should me have a little ambition, you know? I'm going to one church where you didn't have ambition. You understand? Yeah, they instill that in you, and everybody that try to do something with their life. And my father try with me. You understand? He do everything for me come out to sitting. So I did have little ambition. Because my friend, them a do things, you know, them a go to school and them a turn doctor and you know the nice things them. So after the poor man tried so much, we couldn't go let him down. So I have little ambition and he send me go to school, and you know, you get little older now and you have little dream for yourself. Because you have children now and you want them to have little ambition too. So I had this ambition from I was a little girl that I wanted to study in England. And in 2019, I go through a rough time at work. And I feel like God did punish me. I'm going to go through severe depression. I'm just have to take with myself. The opportunity came for me to fulfill that dream, to go and study. So I go to the people in country. I was put on to a lady, a Seventh-day Adventist. When me telling us the deepest hurt then come from the church. I was put on to an Adventist lady. She charged me an exorbitant amount of money for rent, which she should not have been renting her place in the first place. Anyway, no, not because I'm an Adventist, but because the council did not allow that kind of arrangement. Anyway, I go and I pay her rent and I live in her place. And I not do her nothing, you know. Me go my class, and me stay in my room, and morning and evening me talk to my family out here. My sister also lives in England, but she had moved to Manchester. So, and I was in London. So every weekend I would take that 6-hour bus ride to Manchester. Anyway, on this particular morning, oh, the lady, when she had introduced me to a young lady who's also from Jamaica but lives there. She lives downstairs, and that young lady was her friend. She introduced me to her, and I don't know, we became friends. And that sparked one piece of jealousy where poor me never even did know about. You remember, she introduced me to the girl. This particular day, so leading up to that, she always wanted me to, do things with her, go places with her. But some of that me depend, you see me? Because she all ladder me. Any girl, I did more my age. So me and her more have things in common. She wasn't an Adventist, still isn't. So anyway, she would express that, when I leave, I don't call her and this, that, and I don't have a phone relationship with anybody. None of my friends. See, Carrie there, 30 years. Ask her how much time me and her have phone call. I know my thing. So anyway, this morning, early in the morning, this is November now. Yes, time cool. I get up in the morning to use the bathroom. I saw my suitcase in the hallway. Because she did put up my suitcase to me. So I see my suitcase in the hallway. So I say, oh, maybe she clean up a place or something. You understand? Because I don't know if me and her have anything and she not say nothing to me. You remember, me a big woman now, me and a bikini. So, I go back in my bed. But when me wake up now in the morning, she said to me, I have to leave today. You remember, me tell you, me nobody in London. If one sister when me have there in Manchester, and this a woman ya me come appearing too. Me na nobody. Me na know where to go. She said me off to leave. So I said, what's the problem? No problem. I just have to go today. I knew I didn't have to leave that day because I have rights. Me not illegal. Me get visa. Me not illegal. But me say, all right. So I called the young lady she had introduced me to, who had now become my friend, and I told her what happened. I called my sister, I called my husband, and of course, my husband don't know what to do because he saw me there, so. So my friend said, all right, no problem, sharing it. Without speaking to her husband or her children, she said, you can come and stay with me. And she came from school and she took my stuff. Brethren, I'm not telling no lie, she angled the lady. She don't know me. From nowhere, I just saw me meet her and the lady was her friend, but me I tell her she angle her. And all me I beg her, she deal with her case to me. So I go to her house, the lady I'll call police for me. Now you can imagine, as they said earlier, in a foreign country, call Lakawa, no know nobody, get put out and call police for you. Imagine that. Police came to the lady house. You know, when police come here, the foreigner excitement that And I me bring that the excitement upon the woman. Police came, asked me what happened, because the lady report me. Me tell them what happened. And me show them my documents, say me not illegal. And then say, all right. So me tell them where the woman I rent me the place for. And then say, all right, because she not supposed to do it. So she not gonna go get in a trouble. Anyway, me ball so till. Pain in every language. Because when me take it and look upon it, and me say, God, me a so far Jamaica under a wicked principle. And me a try to get way. And you said me come here to suffer so more. And when me do so, where you punish me so far? Me ball and me bex. And me say, imagine, me have one little piece of house in Jamaica. And this woman have a black to her name. And this a disrespect you subject me to. They me a kind of sufferation. But God has a plan. And he never leaves his children comfortless. I came home in December. And I said I wasn't going back. And my husband said, you have to go back. I mean, you not go back. You have to go finish where you start. You want the principal to laugh after you? You have to go back, go down it. Because my friend had said I could come and stay with her. And after much bawling and agonizing, me go back. Because I never that alone me I go through there, you know. Me go back. And I stayed with my friend. And I ended up paying my friend $200 a month. $200 at $550 me they pay before. So God knows say, me couldn't keep up with it. So I don't know if God orchestrated that eviction, but he had already made preparation for me through my friend. And you know, God is so good that not only did I complete my studies, but when I completed, I was interviewed by the university, and I was also published in their, what you call the book there? It's not a journal, but it's that book with all their courses, and yeah. So me have one big spread featuring my department and also on their vlog. And I also received commendation from my professor for not giving up. And I can tell you what she said. She said, congratulations, Shernette, on completing your master's. Many persons would have given up with the challenges that you faced, but you never gave up. And God rewards our faithfulness. And that I want to not forget. So long and short is that God rewards our faithfulness. And sometimes your deepest hurt church or your church family, but you have to love them same way. Because they have to love our same way. And pray for our people in yard. I'm going to go back all when they invite me. Because when they asked her, why did you do that to her? She said the Holy Spirit told her to. Now listen. Listen. Jealousy is a terrible thing. Because it's not just because in her mind I took away her friend, But she also wanted to be a counselor. And here I am, this poor girl from Jamaica, come to Britain. But me, I can do masters. While she did want to be counselor. The encouragement I want to leave with you is that even when you are hurt by those in your family, you have to love them same way. You have to love them through the hurt. Because you can't go to heaven if you don't love and forgive them. I want heaven then and not to have A heaven and B heaven. I want. So you have to learn to forgive. And me, I tell you that, I'm very unforgiving. And I am to ask my sister, she just come. Me very unforgiving. But you have me, I learn. Me not tell you no lie. I'm not perfect. I'm not the perfect Christian. And like I said to you earlier, me did vex with God, me did upset. Because me couldn't understand why he do this to me. You understand? But when I saw the bigger picture, me have to say thank you, Jesus. You know? And that's what all of us have to do. Sometimes we don't see what God is doing. But in the times when you can't see what he's doing, you have to trust his heart that he has a plan. Finally, on one of those days when Joseph is alone in the house, according to verse 11, and none of the men of the household was there inside, she, Potiphar's wife, caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." And he left his garment in her hand and fled and went outside. He just bolted. He was fleeing immorality, and she standing there holding his garment. When she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, she called to the men of her household and said to them, "See, he has brought in a Hebrew to us to make sport of us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I screamed. When he heard that I raised my voice and screamed, he left his garment beside me and fled and went outside." What a woman lie. So she see this good up body Joseph, six-pack and all. Hands, I imagine that Joseph was tall like my husband. And dark and handsome, good body. Stand up, Everett, make them see you. So, he said, "I want to see him already." But I imagine Joseph looks like him. Tan good, and she said, "One piece of this." So she said, "Joseph, where are you going with? Why you deal with my case?" But Joseph was a man of God. And Joseph said, "How am I to do this? I can't do this. How can I do this and sin against my God?" She never pleased. She never pleased at all. Now I want to talk to my young people. Not so long ago, I did young like no for. Sometimes you have to run. Left a garment, left a shirt, left a blouse. That means you must always have one blouse inside. So if you have to run. But you know what's important? You must not allow yourselves to be in a position where you have to run and leave your clothes. Joseph never had a choice in where he was, but he had a choice with what he was doing, and he chose to run away. maybe then look upon him and say, as tough as this, how kind of fish that? Yeah, get sitting pan platter and run lefty. But Joseph was the smart one. He saw the bigger picture. Young people, morality, chastity, still a keep. It's still a keep. The world would have us believe that it's no longer necessary, but it is. Because God's word does not change. And he said, we not fi fornicate. It still applies. We not fi commit adultery. It still applies. Now I want you to know that virtue is important. And virtue is not just the reserved of women. Because we tend to encourage our females to delay sex before marriage, but we don't do the same to our boys. But that's important for the boys too. Because I wouldn't want to have my daughter who keep herself pure and then send her off to a man who just go all around the world. That's not right. So the same effort that it takes for the females to preserve themselves, similar effort and sometimes even more should be exerted by our males. Church, I have a wit again soon. And I don't have to come back up here, sir. But you see, you give me a bus to them, I say all of what I have to say. The church does not speak about sex and chastity and virtue as it should. Our children are over-sexualized. They see it everywhere. Homeschool. If they go out there, so now they see it. Billboard, they're everywhere with it. But we don't address it here because it's unholy. It's taboo. And the church must not speak about it. But this is where they should learn about it. Some of the young people here don't have parents to teach them about these things. And this is their family. This is their home. And we must do better. And I'm not saying St. John's Church, I'm saying our church on a whole, our Adventist church. We don't address these matters. And then when the young people go out and get pregnant, we curse them. And that's all in their head. But we not do enough. We don't do enough. I grew up in a church where I cannot remember any of my peers getting pregnant and dropping out of church. During my time. Not saying it doesn't happen now. During my time. You know why? At that time, there was no generation gap in my church. Old people and young people are friends. And the old people then talk to me like we and them a companion. With respect, of course. We had to have respect. But they sat us down and we talked about everything. When I got married, you should hear the messages that they left on my phone. Big old people, them. But that was the relationship. We don't have that anymore in the churches. There's this big old gap. And we talk about the young people, them, and the old people, them. And there's this disconnect because the old don't understand the new, the young and the young don't understand the old, And nobody seems to want to try to understand. Us older folks, we pretend as if we don't remember what it's like being young. Like me, I tell young people, and I saw them go on. They don't remember what it's like being a teenager. They don't remember what it's like having urges. And so we don't speak about it. But we must speak about it. And young people, I want to say to you that you can preserve yourselves. You can stay chaste until marriage. And I encourage you to make wise decisions because you never know. Look at Joseph. You never know where you'll end up in life or who you will end up with. And so it's important to make wise decisions. It's never about the moment, but what will happen later on. Earlier in my young years, I dated a young man. Boy, I did turn good, you know. Body look good, strong, good looking, turn good. But there was something about him that made me uncomfortable. He was an Adventist. But in those days, made it nice, you know, look good. Every time him pitting, they mash me up now. But them days they made it look good. Right, Sister Hamilton? Flat belly and girl look good. And this boy, this young man just always a talk about my body. How my body look and this and that. And I was always uncomfortable. And you know what I want. And but me did make up my mind from me a little girl say, I want man I go pick my cherry. Nobody else. Nobody nah run up, run up. You understand? Me did make up my mind long time. So I never allowed him to. But this is what I wanted to get young people. Years later, after I married Everett, the same young man became a member of his church. The same young man now lives in the community that we live. Now, imagine if, I don't need to go no further, just imagine if. The gentleman stand up here and preach, and all I talk about him good wife. Look at my lovely wife, and my wife this time, and there's somebody else down there, so shaking head, I say, which good wife am I talk about? After me done run up the. Yeah, you understand what I say? Yeah. How would that have affected his ministry? So young people, I want to say to you that you must keep yourselves pure because you never know where you will end up in life or who you will end up with. It is possible. Nobody tell you say it can't work. It can work. But can you do it by yourself? No. You need God's strength to do it. And it is available. So Joseph ran away and then said, she hangs her garment in her hand as proof. It was his word against hers. It was going to be Potiphar's slave going to prison and not Potiphar's wife. Because you know that in those days, adultery was a crime. So, and it was punishable. So normally, someone who did that would be executed. The not executed may indicate that though Potiphar was angry, he also knew his wife. And he gave Joseph the benefit of the doubt. So Joseph is bound again and becomes a captive in prison. He must have wondered, why are all these bad things happening to me? In the face of obedience to my father, I ended up in a pit. In the face of honoring my master, as far as we know from the text, he hadn't done anything. This cannot be construed as divine punishment. He is endeavoring to honor the Lord by honoring his father, honor the Lord by honoring his master. He's doing it. His circumstances seem completely unfair, but God, by the evil deeds of others, which God does not condone, has Joseph exactly where he wants him. The Lord is perfectly in control. The Lord doesn't do evil. The Lord doesn't condone evil. The Lord isn't in the evil, but the Lord uses the evil. The Lord isn't in the evil, but the Lord uses the evil. The Lord uses the evil. The Lord uses the evil. Thank you. The Lord does not cause bad things to happen to us, but he uses the bad things that happen to us. So we go from a family feud to a false accusation. Let's go to a third point in the story in chapter 40, a forgetful friend. It sounds strange, but everywhere Joseph goes, he's blessed. He was blessed by the love of his mother. Entire fortune increased. Now he goes to prison and followed again by divine blessing. Come to the end of chapter 39, verse 21. He's in prison. He's in the place, according to verse 20, where the king's prisoners were confined. In that place where only the prisoners of the king were placed. But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer. He saved his life, and there he has favor with the jailer. The chief jailer committed to Joseph's charge all the prisoners who were in jail. This has got to be a remarkable guy. Everywhere he goes, his leadership skill, his trustworthiness is so manifest and so fast manifest that everything is put into his care. A high level of trust. So you know how the story goes there. I'm just trying to rush it now. The cupbearer forgot about Joseph. And so Joseph still in their language. And I wonder, then the man name promise him I go tell fear about me or, and make me get a little release. But him a name him by him after and get him release. Him a living life. So in verse 4, the captain of the bodyguard put Joseph in charge of them. Again, he rises to leadership. He took care of them. They were in confinement for some undesignated time. It could be days, could be weeks. Then the cupbearer and the baker for the king of Egypt, who were confined in jail, both had a dream the same night, each man with his own dream, and each dream with its own interpretation. And it just so happens that there is another dreamer there who will turn out to be the greatest dream interpreter ever. Joseph came to in confinement. Joseph gave them the interpretation. You already know the story, so I'm going to rush on down. Where it says it was a total of 13 years in the school of tough times. 13 years a man spent in prison. If you know, do nothing at all. Could you have done it? Only if you did what Joseph did. Only if you trusted in the Lord's presence and his word. Maybe you think you have been going through something really hard. Has it been a long time? Are you ready for the trial to be over? Has your attitude been like Joseph's? You see, if you want to be blessed, you must be blessable. God isn't going to pour out his blessings on a whining, bitter brat. He looks for someone like Joseph, someone who believes him, someone who is thankful for his presence. Those 13 years of difficulty were God's school to prepare Joseph to face the pressures of ruling Egypt. If you thought he was done with the hard stuff, you are wrong. Now the temptation begins. So there was a famine in Egypt, and his brothers came now to look food from Joseph. They didn't recognize Joseph, but Joseph did he? No. God says, vengeance is mine. They did him wrong. They meant it for harm, but God used it for good. The struggles that we face, they're rough. Sometimes you want to give up. Well, I don't know if you stay like me, but some with God too. Because sometimes when I look at some people out the road how them live, they're not business with God. And them life are going nice. And me there I try. Not perfect. Me there I try. Dedicate my life to God. And me I go on. And a pay sufferation. Me can't get a break. Sometimes I vex. But I nah give up on God still. Me a hold on same way. And I want to tell you too, no matter where you go through, hold on. If I even the last thread of hope, hold on same way. Hold on tight. Don't let go, because God has a plan. Carrie, you can't see it now. I know it's hard. But trust God's heart that he has a plan. And soon you will see that. Because God has a plan. And to everybody else, God has a plan. Trust him. Hold on tight. Don't let go. Life is easy when you're up on the mountain. You've got peace of mind like you've never known. But things change when you're down in the valley. Don't lose hope. 'cause you're never alone. For the God of the mountain, He's still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of He's the times, the God of the day. He's still God in the night. We talk of faith when you're up on the mountain. Talk comes so easy when life's at its best, but it's down in the valley of trials and temptations. That's where your faith is really put to the test. For the God of the mountain, He's still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times, He's still God in the bad times. The God of the day, He's still God in the night. The God of the day, He's still God in the night. And brings His word regardless of the cost. Know that God is with you. Stand on God's promises. Look forward and not back. Don't go along with the crowd. Keep a blessable attitude. Let God shape your character of the glory. I just want to, I think you would have gotten the message by now. I just want to invite Kerry and Kaz to the front. I didn't plan on doing this, and I know they don't like the attention, but both of them are struggling with grief. Kaz lost her dad, and, she's questioning God, and it has shaken her a bit. Me. Carrie lost her mom 5 years ago. In January, she lost her only sister to what we believe is arson. That's what they call it, arson. And a week, her aunt, who is her second mom, came to bury her, Carrie's sister. And within a week of returning to the UK, that aunt died. She was buried 2 weeks ago. So you can appreciate that she's hurting, is hurting. And I'm sure there are many other persons here who are hurting. I'm going to ask Pastor to come and pray for and with Kerry and Kaz and anybody else who is hurting and would like to be lifted in prayer. I just want to remind you that God has a